What if everything you've been taught about finding happiness is exactly what's keeping you away from it? I spent years doing what you're probably doing right now, seeking for that one thing that would finally change my life and make me happy. The meditation apps, the morning routines, the productivity hacks, I tried it all, and I got more miserable every single day. But this isn't a new problem. In 1922, German-Swiss poet and novelist Hermann Hesse chronicled this existential crisis through Siddhartha, a story about a young Brahmin who cannot find a way to satisfy his desire to find the first cause of things. So, he abandoned his privileges to seek enlightenment. He pursued asceticism, sought wisdom from the Buddha himself, plunged into sensual and material excess. Each path promised fulfillment. Each path ultimately failed. This 100-year-old book is filled with philosophical depth and contains the antidote to so many problems that we encounter in modern life. What Siddhartha discovered will fundamentally change how you see your own search for happiness. The story of Siddhartha mirrors that of the historical Buddha, also with the same name. Both were born of a high caste, and both left home to search for meaning, end suffering, and find enlightenment. However, instead of meditating under the Bodhi tree until enlightenment comes, Hesse's Siddhartha decided to go out to live in the world, to experience lust, greed, heartbreak, loss, disappointment. Even though Hesse's Siddhartha chose a different path than the historic Buddha, he nonetheless was able to find his enlightenment and happiness in the end. This reveals that copying anyone's path, even a Buddha's, leads to hollow imitation rather than genuine transformation. What Siddhartha discovered about finding authentic fulfillment contains 3 insights that will change your approach to happiness. I need to tell you something. I've read Siddhartha more times than any other book in my life, not because I'm some enlightened guru, but because I was a lost 20-something desperately searching for answers. And the lessons I took from this book changed how I see every failure in my life. Let me take you back to where it all started. Picture this, peak pandemic. I lost my job. All the colleges I applied for rejected me. My long-distance girlfriend cheated on me. Not a soul in the streets. Existential crisis in full swing. I became the guy who was desperately seeking answers from philosophy, religion, literature, and self-help books. I was searching for the cause of my suffering. Then, Audible recommended this book to me. I figured it's probably better than rewatching Tiger King for the 3rd time, right? I had no idea this book would reframe how I see my life from then on. I finished it, and I immediately started it again. Something had cracked open inside me because Siddhartha revealed the truth I'd been avoiding. Wondrous indeed was my life. Wondrous detours it has taken. Detours, not mistakes, not failures. Detours. There is no straight path to success, no fixed directions, no GPS, no right path. Every failure is just the river changing course, giving you information. I once read a Twitter post that said, every strange thing you've ever been into, every failed hobby or forgotten instrument, everything you have ever learned will come back to you, will serve you when you need it. No love, however brief, is wasted. This post captures the very essence of the lesson I got from Siddhartha. My biggest failure became my salvation. I failed my college entrance exams. Dreams of becoming a doctor shattered. But if I hadn't failed those exams, I'd still be in my hometown, miserable, trapped, feeling sorry for myself. My failed long-distance relationship meant that I was free to find love again. All those failures forced me onto a different path. This path, just like Siddhartha had to leave everything, became an ascetic, then a merchant, experienced lust, greed, despair. He needed to lose himself to find himself. Looking back at my own journey now, I realized that every detour, every failure, every moment of being lost weren't regressions. They were elevations. I wasn't going backwards. I was spiraling upward to a perspective I couldn't see from ground level. As Siddhartha's old friend, Govinda, said to him after they've met the Buddha, "We are not going in circles. We are going upwards. The path is a spiral. We have already climbed many steps. What if I told you that right now, in this moment, you are simultaneously a newborn baby and on your deathbed? Sounds insane, right? But this is exactly what Siddhartha discovered by the river after contemplating suicide. Within every sinner is already the future Buddha. Within every infant is already the old person. Within all dying people, eternal life. This isn't just poetic language. It is a fundamental truth about reality that changes everything. If you think back on the person who cut you off in traffic, perhaps they might be hurrying to get their son who has a fever of 103 to the hospital, or that the idol you admire a lot actually has many dark secrets that he doesn't wish the world to know anything about. No one is entirely anything, saint or sinner, success or failure, rich or poor. The world is not binary, and everything exists on a spectrum. When we stop making absolute judgments, we become less reactive to disappointments because we understand that the world contains contradictions. This is what Siddhartha ultimately realized, that whether something appears good or evil doesn't really matter. What matters is understanding that everything is part of the same unified flow. My rejection became my redirection. Your failure contains your success. And once you truly understand this, everything changes. Here's why 90% of self-help is useless, and why you already knew that. You've read the books, watched the videos, followed the routines, but deep down, you know something's missing. In Siddhartha's words, you're collecting knowledge when what you need is wisdom. I can tell you the perfect workout plan. 3 sets of 10 reps, progressive overload, compound movements, adequate protein. You now have the knowledge. But until you've felt the burn in your muscles at the 10th rep, until you've pushed through the voice telling you to quit, until you've experienced the difference between genuine failure and mental weakness, you have no wisdom about strength. The knowledge is worthless without the lived experience. True wisdom emerges from engagement with life's raw experiences, not from accumulating insights about them. The most important lessons are paradoxically the most obvious ones. These lessons remain empty until your own suffering teaches you their necessity. As Chris Williamson so eloquently explained this concept in his podcast.
Unteachable lessons. It's a special category of lesson, one that you can't discover without experiencing it firsthand. So there is a certain subset of advice that for some reason we all refuse to learn through instruction. No matter how arduous or costly or effortful it's going to be for us to find out for ourselves, we prefer to disregard the mountains of warnings that we get from our elders and songs and literature and historical catastrophes and public scandals, and instead we think some version of, yeah, that might be true for them, but not for me.
Siddhartha had to leave the Buddha himself to find his own truth. He had to experience wealth, love, loss, and despair before he could understand enlightenment. Your wisdom isn't in following someone else's path, it's in courageously walking your own. As Siddhartha had realized in the book, words do not express thoughts very well. They always become a little different immediately they are expressed, a little distorted, a little foolish. And yet, it also pleases me and seems right that what is of value and wisdom to one man seems nonsense to another. So stop consuming, start experiencing. The next time you find yourself watching another productivity video, ask yourself, what would happen if I closed the laptop and actually tried something? Your wisdom is not in the next video you watch, it's in the next risk you take. Siddhartha is a masterpiece that remains relevant even to this day. I recommend you read or reread this book. The path of wisdom must be traveled by oneself and discovered in private, because words alone are inadequate to describe the beauty and wisdom of this book. It must be experienced as personal revelation. I will leave you guys with one final quote from the book. Wisdom cannot be imparted. Wisdom that a wise man attempts to impart always sounds like foolishness to someone else. Knowledge can be communicated, but not wisdom. One can find it, live it, do wonders through it, but one cannot communicate and teach it. If this video helped you, subscribe, because next week I'm exploring the book that replaces your existential dread with genuine awe. You won't want to miss this one. The journey continues, and I want you with me for it.